My friends, have you ever felt like the world was against you? Like every disappointment, every harsh word, every failure was a weight too heavy to carry? Let me tell you something today. Something your heart needs to hear. Nobody and nothing has to control you ever again. Not the criticism that cut you down. Not the betrayal that left you broken. Not the fear that whispers you'll never win. Because there is a place deep inside you where no storm can reach. A place of unshakable peace, unbreakable strength, and undefeated hope. You see, the world will try to shake you. People will try to wound you. Circumstances will try to break you. But I'm here to declare, with every fiber of my being, that you hold the power to rise above it all. Not by your might, but by the truth that you were made for more than defeat. So lift your head, straighten your shoulders. The battle isn't over. It's just beginning. And from this moment forward, let nothing, no thing, no person, no pain steal the victory that is already yours. Will you believe it? Will you live it? Then watch as the chains fall and the world loses its power over you for good. There is a storm raging all around you. Can you feel it? The winds of doubt howl, the waves of fear crash, and the thunder of life's trials shakes the very ground beneath your feet. People will betray you. Circumstances will knock you down. The world will try to convince you that you should be afraid, that you should tremble, that you should surrender. But I am here to tell you today, with absolute certainty, that deep inside you there is a place of perfect peace. A place so strong, so steady, that no storm, no matter how fierce, can ever touch it. You see, peace isn't the absence of trouble. It isn't a life where everything goes right. No, my friend, real peace is something far greater. It's the unshakable confidence that no matter what happens outside of you, nothing can destroy what's inside of you. It's the quiet voice that whispers in the middle of the chaos. You are safe. You are held. You are not alone. Think about the darkest moment you've ever faced. The pain that took your breath away. The disappointment that crushed your spirit. The fear that gripped your heart like a vice. And yet, you're still here. You didn't disappear. You didn't vanish. You survived. Why? Because there is a strength in you that the world cannot extinguish. There is a light in your soul that no darkness can overcome. And that, my friend, is the foundation of unshakable peace. So how do you find this peace? How do you hold on to it when everything inside you is screaming to panic? You anchor yourself to something, someone greater than the storm. You stop looking at the waves and start looking at the one who walks on them. You stop listening to the voices of fear and start listening to the voice of truth. Because when your heart is fixed on what cannot be moved, then you cannot be moved. Let me ask you something. When a hurricane comes, what happens to the deep waters of the ocean? The surface rages, the waves roar. But down below in the depths, there is stillness, complete calm. Why? Because the storm has no power there. And that's where you must learn to live. Not on the surface where every little thing shakes you, but deep in the unshakable truth that you are held by hands that will never let you go. Some of you right now are carrying burdens that feel too heavy. You've been abandoned. Abandoned. You've been told you're not enough. And the weight of it all is crushing you. But I need you to hear this. You do not have to live at the mercy of your emotions. You do not have to be a prisoner to your pain. There is a place of rest for your soul, a place where fear cannot follow, where doubt cannot enter, where the past cannot haunt you. And that place is yours for the taking. So what do when the storm comes? You stand firm, you breathe deep. And you remember, this is not the end. The winds will not last forever. The rain will not drown you. The night will not overcome you. Because peace isn't something you find when the battle is over. Peace is what carries you through the battle. You were never meant to live in fear. You were never meant to be controlled by the opinions of others, the chaos of the world, the lies of the enemy. You were meant to walk in confidence, to live in freedom, to rise above the noise and say, no weapon formed against me will prosper. No storm will break me. No darkness will consume me. Because my heart is anchored and my soul is at rest. That, my friend, is unshakable peace. And once you have it, truly have it, nothing and no one can ever take it from you. Let me ask you something that will change everything. What if your greatest obstacle is actually your greatest opportunity? What if that thing that's been weighing you down, that problem that won't go away, that disappointment that crushed your spirit? What if it's not here to destroy you, but to develop you? The truth is, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And the moment you see your struggles differently, they become different. Right now, someone is looking at their mountain and thinking, I'll never make it over. But someone else is looking at that same mountain and saying, this is my chance to climb higher than I've ever been. Same mountain, same difficulty, but two completely different outcomes because one person sees an obstacle and the other sees an opportunity. That's the power of perspective. It doesn't change your circumstances, but it changes you in the middle of them. And when you change, everything around you shifts. Think about a diamond. How does something so beautiful, so strong, so valuable come to exist? Under pressure, in the dark through heat and force and time. If the diamond could talk, it wouldn't complain about the process. It would thank it, because without the struggle, it would just be another piece of coal. And you, my friend, are no different. The very things you're resisting, the pain you're begging God to take away. What if they're the very things shaping you into something rare, something unbreakable, something brilliant? Some of you right now are staring at a closed door and all you can feel is the disappointment. But what if that door closed, something better is waiting? What if that rejection was protection? What if that loss was making room for a greater gain? You'll never know unless you shift your perspective. You'll never see the blessing unless you stop cursing the storm. Let me tell you about two men, both lost their jobs on the same day. One said, it's over, I'll never recover. The other said, now I'm free to pursue what I was really meant to do. 5 years later, the first man is still bitter, still stuck, still blaming the world. The second man is thriving, building, living his dream. Same setback. Different stories, why? Because one saw an ending and the other saw a new beginning. That's the choice you're facing right now. You can look at your life through the lens of fear or through the lens of faith. You can focus on what's gone wrong, or you can focus on what's going right. You can see yourself as a victim of your past or a victor in your future. The facts may not change, but your future will change based on how you see them. Some of you have been carrying hurts for years. You've been telling the same sad story, holding on to the same pain, rehearsing the same excuses. But what if today you decided to tell a different story? What if instead of saying, this broke me, you started saying, this built me? Instead of they left me, you declared, they freed me? Words have power, perspective has power. And when you change the way you see, you change the way you love. I know it's hard, I know some wounds run deep. But hear me loud and clear, your pain is not pointless. Your struggle is not random. There is a purpose in your pressure, a reason for your resistance. And the moment you start seeing your battles as stepping stones instead of stumbling blocks, that's the moment you start walking in victory. So take a deep breath, look again, that mountain in front of you. It's not a dead end, it's your launching pad. That heartbreak, not your destruction. Your direction, that failure, not your downfall, you're set up for a comeback. You have a choice today. See your life through the eyes of fear or through the eyes of faith. One will keep you stuck. The other will set you free. The question is, what will you choose to see? Fear is the loudest liar you will ever meet. It screams in your face that you're not strong enough, that the worst will happen, that you should turn back before it's too late. But here's the truth that will set you free. Fear only has the power you give it. The moment you stop feeding it, it starts starving. The moment you face it, it starts shrinking. And the moment you believe in something bigger than your fear, you realize you were never trapped to begin with. Think about the last time fear paralyzed you. Maybe it was the fear of failure. whispering that if you tried, you'd only embarrass yourself. Maybe it was the fear of rejection convincing you that if you opened your heart, it would get broken again. Maybe it was the fear of the unknown, shouting that stepping forward was too dangerous, that staying stuck was safer. But let me ask you this. When has fear ever told you the truth? When has it ever led you to something good? Fear doesn't protect you. It prisons you. And today, the door of that prison is swinging open, if you're brave enough to walk through it. Some of you right now are hesitating on the edge of a dream, because fear has painted nightmares in your mind. What if I fall? But what if you fly? What if they say no? But what if they say yes? What if I'm not ready? But what if this is exactly the moment you were made for? Fear doesn't prepare you, it prevents you. And the greatest tragedy isn't failing. It's never trying because fear talked you out of it. I'm not telling you that the things you're afraid of aren't real. The risks are real. The pain is real. The uncertainty is real. But so is the strength inside you. So is the God who goes before you. So is the promise that you were never meant to live cowering in the shadows when there's sunlight waiting for you on the other side of your courage. Let me tell you about fear's greatest weakness. It can't survive in the presence of bold faith. When you stand up and say, I don't know how this will work out, but I know who holds my tomorrows, fear starts trembling. When you declare, even if I fail, I won't regret trying, fear starts backing down. When you choose to trust instead of tremble, fear doesn't just leave, it flees. Because fear was never your master. It was only ever a bully, and bullies run when someone finally stands up to them. Some of you have been carrying fears for so long they feel like part of you. The fear of not being good enough. The fear of being alone. The fear that your past will always haunt you. But today I need you to hear this. Those fears don't belong to you. They're not your identity. They're not your future. They're just shadows, and shadows can't exist where light is shining. So shine. Step forward. Speak up. Try again. Love anyway. Dream bigger. Fear doesn't get to write your story unless you hand it the pen. Right now, someone is letting fear make their decisions for them. They're staying in a dead-end job because it's safe. They're settling for a half-life because it's familiar. They're silencing their voice because they're afraid of what people might say. But that's not living. That's just existing. And you were made for so much more than that. The world doesn't need more people who play it safe. It needs people who refuse to let fear have the final say. People who know that on the other side of fear is the life they've been praying for. So take that fear you've been carrying, the one that wakes you up at night, the one that tightens your chest, the one that whispers you can't, and hold it up to the light. Really look at it. Is it as powerful as you've believed? Or has it been feeding on your attention, growing bigger every time you listen? Today's the day you stop feeding the monster. Today's the day you look fear in the eye and say, you're not the boss of me. You don't control me. You don't define me. I am free. Because here's the secret fear doesn't want you to know. The thing you're most afraid of, you're strong enough to handle it. The worst case scenario, you'd survive it. The mountain in front of you, you'd climb it. You are so much braver than you believe, so much stronger than you feel, so much more capable than fear has let you imagine. So breathe deep, straighten your shoulders, and take that first step, not because you're unafraid, but because you refuse to let fear have the final word. The path to freedom begins the moment you realize fear was never your chains. It was only ever a choice. And today, you're choosing differently. Today, you're choosing faith. Today, you're choosing freedom. And once you taste that freedom, you'll never go back to fear again. There are arrows flying at you every single day. Arrows of discouragement that try to pierce your heart. Arrows of failure that aim for your confidence. Arrows of comparison that target your joy. Arrows of fear that seek to paralyze your future. But I didn't come here to tell you how to dodge them, because you don't have to. I came to tell you about the unbreakable shield you already possess. A shield so strong, so impenetrable that when those arrows come, they won't just miss you, they'll bounce right off. That shield is your faith. Faith isn't just something you have, it's something you use. It's not a fragile hope that things might get better. It's an unshakable knowing that you are held, guided, and protected no matter what comes your way. When the world says you're finished, faith says, I'm just getting started. When doubt whispers you're not enough, faith roars, I am more than a conqueror. When despair tries to drag you under, faith lifts your head and reminds you, this storm isn't your end, it's your setup for a miracle. Some of you have been hit by so many arrows that you've started to believe you're defenseless. You've taken the lies of the enemy and worn them like armor. Maybe I am a failure. Maybe I'll never get it right. Maybe God has forgotten me. But those aren't truths, they're traps. In the moment you raise your shield of faith, those flaming arrows of the enemy turn to nothing but smoke. Because faith doesn't just protect you, it transforms the attack into a testimony. Think about David standing in front of Goliath. Everyone else saw a giant too big to fight. David saw a target too big to miss. What was the difference? Faith. While Saul's army cowered in fear, David ran toward the battle because he knew his God was bigger, and that's the choice you're facing right now. You can look at your Goliath and tremble, or you can look at your God and triumph. You can focus on the size of your problem, or you can remember the strength of your protector. Faith isn't blind optimism. It's not pretending everything is fine when it's not. Real faith looks the storm in the eye and says, I know who calms the winds. It stares into the valley of the shadow of death and declares, I will fear no evil because I am not alone. Faith isn't the absence of struggle. It's the assurance that in the struggle, you are never without help. Some of you have lowered your shield lately. You've let disappointment creep in. You've allowed discouragement to weigh you down. You've started believing the lies that say nothing will ever change. But today I'm here to remind you, pick up your shield again. Raise it high. Hold it steady. Because the same faith that brought you through last time hasn't weakened. Right now, someone is holding on to bitterness like it's a treasure. You don't understand what they did to me. You're right, I don't. But I do know this, that bitterness isn't punishing them, it's poisoning you. That anger isn't hurting your past, it's hijacking your future. The only way to truly win is to rise above it. To look at every scar and say, you thought you broke me, but you just showed me how strong I really am. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. Every no is steering you toward the right yes. Every closed door is protecting you from what wasn't meant for you. Every heartbreak is making room for love that won't walk away. But you'll only see it if you choose to look at your life through eyes of hope instead of hurt. Maybe today feels heavy. Maybe you're tired of fighting.